The story begins with Alex, Marty, Gloria, and Melman throwing a farewell party. This event is held as their last celebration with Giuliani and her followers. The four friends had decided to return to New York using a hot air balloon that they had assembled themselves. In the midst of the party atmosphere, Alex noticed that Gloria and Melman seemed to be enjoying themselves. However, something unexpected happens. Giuliani and his followers don't attend the event at all. The only other attendee is Mort, who seems to be in good spirits for the party. Melman assumes that Giuliani may have found it difficult to say goodbye, so chose not to come. As the wind begins to pick up, Alex knows it's time for them to hit the road. Each of them had dreams that they wanted to realize when they returned to New York. Gloria can't wait to swim in her pool again and meet the spine specialist she finds so charming. Meanwhile, Alex misses New York City, especially when it snows. But in the midst of their excitement, there's a sudden attack. Rocks and torches flew from below, hitting their hot air balloon. The fire spread, burning the balloon until it could no longer be controlled. As a result, they fell and landed back on the island. As soon as they hit the ground, they were surprised by a group of lemurs who immediately pointed spears at them. Upon closer inspection, it turned out that the attackers were Giuliani and her followers. Giuliani and her followers thought that the hovering blimp was a red goblin, a creature they considered to be a nuisance. Alex, who was still confused, asked about the creature in question. Giuliani began to explain, but suddenly one of her followers screamed in panic.
"My goblin's coming!"
Okay, I get it.
The red goblins they feared were moving closer. Panic ensued, making them all rush to find a hiding place. All of Giuliani's followers tried to block the red goblin's arrival by throwing coconuts and spears at it. Seeing this, Alex also helped them, and his throw hit the creature. Giuliani and her followers cheered, but unexpectedly, the red goblin fell towards them and ended up stranded on the island. Excitedly, they went straight to the red goblin, making sure it couldn't escape. Just then, Alex and his friends noticed something strange. There were Christmas candy canes and gifts scattered around them. Slowly, they began to realize something. It could be that the red goblin that Giuliani was referring to was actually Santa Claus. Their guess was proven right, it was indeed Santa Claus. However, Giuliani seems to have misunderstood. She thought Santa Claus was both a red goblin and a robot. Without hesitation, she begins to interrogate Santa and even plays on his stomach. Alex and his friends immediately approach Giuliani and explain that the creature in front of them is Santa Claus. Unfortunately, Giuliani doesn't know who Santa is, and even more surprisingly, Santa himself doesn't seem to know who he is either. Apparently, Santa Claus has amnesia due to Alex's throw that made him fall and hit hard. Seeing the situation, Alex has a brilliant idea. He invited his friends to discuss and suggested that they use Santa to return to New York using his sleigh. All they had to do was find the whereabouts of the sleigh and help Santa collect the presents. In return, Santa will take them back to New York. Everyone agrees to Alex's plan, and they immediately rush to find Santa's sleigh. When they finally find it, they also meet Santa's reindeer. However, in the midst of their admiration, Skipper and his team suddenly appeared, blocking Alex and his friends from approaching the reindeer herd.
Back away!
Alex tries to mediate and prevent a showdown between the two camps. Unfortunately, the herd of reindeer that initially seemed friendly turned out to be quite good at arguing. Even more surprising, Skipper and his team confidently declared that Santa was not from the South, but from the North Pole. As the two camps were about to fight, they suddenly realized that Private was not among them. Skipper immediately looked for Private, and found him staring at a doe named Cuphead. Unexpectedly, Private falls head over heels for the reindeer, and Skipper immediately warns Private not to be tempted by the northern herd. Meanwhile, Alex tries to mediate between the two parties and reminds them that it's Christmas Day, a moment synonymous with peace and sharing gifts. Alex then asked the reindeer herd if they were willing to give him and his friends a ride, but the reindeer flatly refused. They would only take orders directly from Santa Claus. After that, they leave, leaving Alex, his friends, and Skipper and his team in disappointment. Alex is upset that their target has escaped, and hopes of returning to New York seem slim. However, Private suddenly finds something in the sled pouch filled with magic powder. Accidentally, the powder splashes out and sends Private flying through the air. Seeing this, Skipper realizes that they don't need reindeer to fly. He told them that they only needed the magic powder. Without hesitation, they immediately use the remaining powder and successfully fly the sled. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Giuliani's followers are gathering with Giuliani and Santa Claus. Giuliani prepares to present a special ritual performance for Santa. Unexpectedly, Santa actually enjoys the performance and even dances with them. On the other hand, Alex and his friends are surprised at Santa's behavior. They tried to persuade him to come back with them, but Santa kept refusing. He said he liked the place better and didn't want to leave. Finally, they gave up and went back to their sled. Santa took the initiative to make his own gift. He took a branch from the tree and turned it into a toy train. Unexpectedly, the toy caught the attention of one of Giuliani's followers. Seeing this, other followers also wanted similar gifts. Santa finally made gifts for all of them one by one, until Giuliani realized that her followers were no longer lining up to give her gifts. She began to feel annoyed when she saw her followers enjoying Santa's gifts, and Giuliani was furious. According to her, she had welcomed Santa's arrival well, but he had ruined her celebration. For Giuliani, the celebration was just for her, and all the presents should be given to her. If everyone else gets a gift, then she is no longer the center of attention. In a fit of rage, Giuliani tells her followers that their gift is her gift too.
No presents are my presents.
On the other hand, Alex and his friends have decided on the first house they will give a gift to. They land, but it's not a smooth landing. They crash into a tree and get hit by snow falling from the branches. Alex is skeptical about Marty's idea to enter through the chimney. He suggested that they enter through the front door instead. However, Marty insisted that entering through the chimney would not be difficult, so Marty went up and tried to enter through the chimney. There, however, Melman seemed uncomfortable with the plan as he had claustrophobia, a fear of tight spaces. As Marty started to descend, he got stuck in the middle of the chimney and couldn't move. Seeing this, his friends panicked and tried to help him. Eventually, Alex and Melman were forced to enter through the front door. Inside, they were surprised to see Marty's head still stuck in the fireplace. Suddenly, they heard the security alarm go off. They panic and rush back to the sled. Before leaving, Alex throws his Christmas present, but it misses and hits the glass of the house instead. They immediately run away while carrying Mailman. After that, they landed on the roof of the next house with Skipper and his team. However, as they rushed to leave, their sled unexpectedly got stuck again. As a result, they crashed and entered one of the houses. Unexpectedly, the accident was witnessed by a little girl. They were momentarily speechless when they saw her. However, the child's reaction was unexpected. He was overjoyed. The child greeted them enthusiastically, thinking that Alex and his friends were Santa's helpers delivering presents. The child even gave them cookies and gave them a warm hug before going back to sleep, a moment that touched them deeply. Eventually, they changed their plans and canceled their trip to the post office. Instead, they decided to go straight to the other houses, and their journey continued from one region to another, even to another continent. Before they knew it, they were exhausted, including Skipper. At that moment, they realized that there were still 152 cities to visit. However, their spirits were rekindled when they saw the Statue of Liberty, which signaled that they had arrived in New York, the final destination of their journey. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Julian was pensive and talking to himself in the wreckage of a plane stuck on a tree. He is talking to Amelia. Shortly after, Santa arrives and apologizes to Julian for messing up his celebration. Julian tells him that he has received so many presents. It can be seen from the airplane that is now filled with these gifts. However, despite all the presents, he still feels lonely. Santa tried to understand Julian's feelings and said that the celebration he made was actually very fun, especially when sharing gifts with others. Santa also suggested that Julian try to share gifts with the people closest to him first, for example Amelia. Julian initially denied and said that Amelia was not his girlfriend. However, he still follows Santa's advice. After delivering the gifts, Julian sees Amelia smiling, which makes him feel better. On the other hand, Alex and his friends have landed in Greenland. They decide to take a short break there while thinking critically about their next move. The last place they visited was almost finished, but Marty realized that there were still gifts left. In the midst of his exhaustion, Melman spontaneously grabbed the bag and was about to throw it into the river. However, Gloria quickly snatched the bag back and opened it. When they saw what was inside, they were all surprised the gifts were for themselves. Each of them got what they wanted. Marty got his favorite food, Gloria received a pool package, Melman got a back massager, and Alex got the snow globe of his dreams. They really couldn't believe how Santa knew what they wanted, even though they only said it in the hot air balloon. Seeing that, Alex felt guilty for leaving Santa alone in Madagascar with a bump on his head. He decided to take Santa with them to New York. On the other hand, Skipper delivered both good and bad news. The good news was that they still had enough magic powder to reach Madagascar. However, the bad news is that the fuel is only enough to reach Madagascar, not enough to return to New York. They are faced with two choices: return to Madagascar or keep heading to New York, the place they have always dreamed of. In the end, they choose to return to Madagascar and give up New York. Alex also said that they could go to New York next year. Meanwhile, Cupid and the herd of deer were seen relaxing on the beach in Madagascar, while Julian was busy distributing gifts to his followers. On the other hand, Alex and his team's journey to Madagascar experienced obstacles. The fuel almost ran out halfway, even though they were almost there. One by one, Skipper's team members began to fall off the sled, until finally only Private was left. From a distance, Cupid saw Private, who was still holding on, and encouraged him. With great effort, Private finally managed to control the sled. However, in Madagascar, Julian's followers thought that something coming from a distance was the Red Goblin. They panicked and ran around. The sleigh finally landed in Madagascar, but as before, the landing was not perfect. It even crashed into Santa. They all panicked, thinking Santa was seriously injured. But before long, Santa made a sound and moved his legs. They rushed to help Santa, who asked where he was and what about the presents for the children. Gloria was relieved that Santa seemed to have remembered everything. They were all happy that Santa no longer had amnesia. Shortly after, the reindeer herd leader arrives and immediately accuses Alex, Skipper, and their friends of ruining their Christmas. He accused them of stealing the sleigh and using it for fun, but Skipper denied the accusation and called it a fake scenario from the reindeer. Melman came to the defense of his friends, explaining that they had gone to the trouble of delivering the Christmas gifts to their rightful places. Cupid also helped prove their innocence by showing them the empty gift bags, indicating that all the gifts had been delivered. However, the reindeer chief was still angry at Cupid for siding with them. Upon hearing this, Cupid finally realized that there was still one gift left. Santa immediately rushes to deliver it before the rightful child leaves. Meanwhile, Alex and his friends are surprised to learn that the sled's fuel can be refilled. They try to catch up with Santa and ask for a ride, but Santa has already flown away, making it impossible for them to catch up with him. As a result, Private and Skipper are separated, while Cupid joins Santa and the reindeer herd to deliver the last gift. In the distance, Santa tells them that Julian has been removed from the list of good children, and they leave without Julian, Alex, and their friends. Seeing the situation, Gloria tries to encourage them, saying that they can also celebrate Christmas in this place. Finally, they all work together to prepare a Christmas celebration while having fun.